It's good to be back. Thanks, Blair. Last week, I was with the crew at Hillsong, and even though there's so many people worshiping there, and it was a mind-blowing time, there's something about being back at home and being amongst family and just our own kind. And if you're joining us for the first time here at Gracegate, it's an awesome environment. It's a community church. We're here for each other. And thank you for choosing to be with us today. I wanted to just, before we got started, to also just amplify what Bree just shared about salt. And one of the things that is so exciting about salt is not only does our building just get filled with so many young kids, but it also gets filled with so many willing volunteers who literally give and pour and exhaust themselves, even the staff. And I'm actually looking at some of them now, and I'm glad that you guys are here and that you came to church today, because I saw the way you guys poured out this week. And salt doesn't happen without the volunteers and the people who actually are sold out for all the kids. And can we give them a huge hand? I know I was speaking to Rosemary, and Rosemary mentioned to me, she said, Wesley, it's like a production line in the kitchen, all right? Can you imagine just making food the whole day long for all these kids? And thank you for doing that. And the reason I'm so excited about Salt is actually because they're the next generation. They're going to be the guys who are actually going to take my place and take all of our seats here. And they're going to be the guys who are leading this community. And I'm so excited to see so many people who are like, hey, we're here for them, and we're going to exhaust all our energy. So join us tonight. I invite everyone to come tonight. It's going to be great, and it's just a way that we can give back and support all the young people. So this has been a great week, and I thought today I want to share something with you all, and I want to be really honest. And this week that just passed, I ran into someone who is probably the person who has betrayed me the most in my life, all right? You can think of that person in your life. I ran into this person this week, and for some reason, I had the stirring in me that I should actually invite them to church today. And I should actually, in some way, engage in a conversation with someone who has literally betrayed me the very most in my life. So I actually invited this person to come to church today. And if you can do me a big favor and join me in welcoming this person who's backstage right now. It's a bit of a crazy, I'll just check your plate. You're good? You good? All right. Got a bit of stage fright. But anyway, I just want you to know that, it was like looking at me this week straight in the face, and I thought, this is the person who has literally betrayed me the most throughout my whole life. Man, this person, the man in the mirror, is the person who has actually participated willingly in every single bad decision that I have made. Every single one of them. This person right here is 100% responsible for every single bad decision that I've made. It's the man in the mirror. It's me. And what is crazy about this is that this person in the mirror over here, what blows my mind is that he actually masterminds in his mind and in his heart how he's going to actually make these bad decisions and it's going to come into a reality. Do you know what I'm talking about? You can all relate. I know you can, because this isn't just me. The person who betrays you the most is, guess what? Guess who it is? It's you. Okay? Don't worry, I won't leave the light on you all the time. But it's you. We are our biggest enemies. Sorry, I'll just turn it so you guys don't. Is that good? You are your worst enemy. All right? I am my worst enemy. There's so many times where I'm like, man, this is the future that I want. This is what I actually want in my life. And then I find myself making the exact opposite decisions to get there. Can you relate? We're our worst enemy. We kick ourselves in the face all the time. And yeah, the person who has betrayed me the most is me. So today, I want to try and, in just a very short space of time, try to unpack what do we do about this? How can we actually figure out what is a way that actually we can stop being our worst enemy? And the way I'm going to try and do that is I want to share a story with you. And you may have heard this story, you may have not. But it's about two brothers. It's found in the book of Genesis. It's in the Bible. And I thought it's quite relevant because today I have my very own brother in church, right? For, I think, like only the second time at Gracegate. And I thought, man, this is a great story to share. And I'll tell you why exactly it's great. Because it's about this father, and his name is Isaac, and he has a wife, Rebecca. And that is actually one of my best and most favorite stories in the Bible, is how Isaac actually finds a wife. And if you have time, go and read it. It's found in Genesis. And but they actually, Rebecca falls pregnant, and she's pregnant with twins. And there are these two boys inside of her, and they literally, in the stomach, they are already fighting and going crazy. And I can't make this up. It's in the Bible, all right? You can go and read it. But Rebecca actually goes to God, and she actually says, God, what the heck is going on? All right? Inside of me, I can just feel something's going crazy. And God communicates with Rebecca, and she actually says, hey, like both of them are going to be fighting against each other. And this is one of my favorite Bible verses in the whole Bible. It then says something like this. It says, hey, but the younger brother, all right, will win, and the older one will rule underneath him. Isn't that such a powerful Bible verse? All right. I love that Bible verse. If you're a younger brother, can you relate? Hey? It is such a powerful Bible verse. And I thought that's exactly why I can share this story today, because my brother's here and the Bible says that. So isn't that good? But so Rebecca's got these twins inside of her, and eventually they come out, and the firstborn is actually a guy named Esau, and Jacob, the younger brother, comes out second, and he actually comes out grabbing the heel of Esau, all right? And the story then goes that Isaac, who is the father, favors Esau, all right? He favors the older brother. He is totally in love with him, and Esau is like a guy's guy, all right? He goes out hunting. He's the guy who is doing all the man stuff. He's like the macho man. He's like I guess the son that every father dreams of, all right? That's the kind of Esau, that's who Esau was. But Jacob, he's a mama's boy, all right? Any mama's boys out there? No? Can be honest? Okay. Anyway, but he's a mama's boy. He likes staying at home. He likes cooking food, all right? And this is who Jacob is. And we pick up the story today that I want to share with you, where Jacob is actually in the kitchen, all right? And this is how it goes. It says, once when Jacob was cooking some stew, Esau came in from the open country famished. All right. So obviously Esau has been out. He's been out hunting. He hasn't obviously caught anything. He comes back famished. Goes on and he says, he said to Jacob, he says, quick, let me have some of that red stew. I'm famished. All right, quick, let me have some of that red stew. I'm famished. Already from this part of the story, we can see that, hey, Esau, the older brother, is either not really good at hunting, all right, or he's just like lazy, or he is just like, man, I'm really hungry, all right? I've got a big appetite, and actually I need some red stew. I'm famished. It goes on, and it says, Jacob replied, he said, hey, first sell me your birthright. Now, let me give you a bit of context to what a birthright is, because in our culture, if I say birthright, none of us will understand what a birthright is. But a birthright was actually something that the oldest son would get, all right? He'd just get the birthright because he came out first. And this was Esau had the birthright, and the birthright consisted of, he would generally get twice as much as any other sibling when it came to the inheritance. And it's sometimes even a third as much as all the other kids, all right? And he would also be the judge. He would be like the judge of the family. So if anything was going on in the family, Esau would be the guy who would actually, be able to counsel everyone and be the judge who would make all the decisions. And also the third thing about the birthright was that it was believed that God, for some reason, would actually give an extra blessing, all right, for the eldest son. He'll take care of him, and he'd give him this extra blessing. This was the belief that they had. And Jacob, the younger sibling, asks Esau, hey, sell me your birthright for a bowl of lentil stew. Now, the story might not seem that significant to you, but if you really think about the story, and being a brother, being a younger brother, I can relate to this, and I can tell you that there was probably hundreds, probably thousands of times when I would go up to my brother and I'd say, hey, can you give me a hand with this? Can I have this? Do you have some money for me? Hey, can I drive your car? Oh, can I wear this shirt? Can you help me with this? If you're the younger sibling, if you two brothers, you will understand this, all right? This is like what always used to happen in our context. However, it was so seldom. I mean, I was trying to think of it this week, and I exhausted my thinking to try and think when my older brother would actually ask me for something, right? He just wouldn't. I don't know. Maybe that's us, but I think that's generally the same for most brothers, all right? Is it Jamie? Maybe. I don't know, all right? Anyway, in this case, and in this story, it makes me think, because the only time that I can think when my brother asked me for something was when I had a friend at school, and she was good looking, and he liked her. And at that stage, I mean, I guess what Jacob could do. You start thinking, hey, what do I want out of this? Hey, I can actually get something out of this. And Jacob uses his entrepreneurship, and he says, hey, I'm going to start with probably the most valuable thing that Esau has. The most valuable thing. This birthright was his future. It was who he was destined to be. And Jacob replies, he says, hey, first sell me your birthright. Give me the most valuable thing that you have. I want it. And it goes on. And then Esau responds and he says, look, I am about to what? To die, all right? Esau said, what good is the birthright to me? Now, let me ask you guys a question. Was Esau about to die? If he was about to die, do you think a bowl of lentil stew would have helped him? Maybe. Probably not, right? Probably not. Look, I am about to die, Esau said. What good is the birthright to me? What good is my future? What good is everything that God has for me, that God has given me? All right? What good is that? And I think we can relate to this because this is our situation almost every single day of our life. Where we say, hey, look, I am about to die. We start lying to ourselves like Esau. And we look in the mirror and we say, you know what? I really have to have that thing. If I don't have that thing, I'm about to die. Psychologists have actually studied this over and over again. And when we have sort of this tunnel vision, it's like when we go shopping. And when we have something on our mind, we look at it and it looks as if it's an 8 out of 10. But realistically, it's actually only a 3 out of 10. Where we see like, actually, we're not really going to die. We don't really need that. Can you relate? When you go to the shops and you see something and you're like, man, I really and truly need that. If I don't have that, I just don't know how I'm going to live my life. A couple of weeks ago, I was looking for couches because everyone was sitting on the floor at my house. And I thought it would be a good idea to go and look for couches. So I went first and went to a whole bunch of different shops. If you go shopping with me and you don't like shopping, you're going to hate it because I generally never buy anything, all right? I just go into all the stores. I look at all the prices. I never make a decision. But I went into this one store and I saw these amazing couches. And when I sat on these couches, I was like sold. They were like, this is exactly what I was looking for. But then I looked at the price, and the price was ridiculous. Honestly, it was like so expensive. It was insane to spend that much money on those couches. However, whenever I went to all the other shops now, I was just comparing, and I said, man, I'm about to die. Honestly, if I don't have those couches. I went and I showed Zalia those couches. She hated going with me because I'd never make a decision, and I'd compare everything to those couches. But luckily, thankfully, actually, Zalia actually convinced me and said, hey, Wesley, just stop. Just pause for a second. Do you really want to spend that much money on couches? And obviously I said, no, I don't. I don't really want it. But it's like this thing of focalism where we're actually so focused on something. It's, it's in the context of someone maybe in school that we like. Maybe it's a girl that we like. And as soon as she walks into the classroom, we're like sold out. We're like, man, this is the girl. I can't stop thinking about her. No one else matters in life. This is what I need. If I don't have her, I'm going to die. We lie to ourselves. And the crazy thing about this is that Esau was doing this to himself. His greatest enemy, the person who was betraying him the most, was himself in this story. And sometimes we do it, but it costs us something that is really significant. Sometimes it costs us our reputation. Sometimes it costs us our marriage. Sometimes it costs us our kids. Because we're like, we need this. This is an appetite. This is a craving. This is something that I think and only think will fill me up and will help me. It goes on then. It says, but Jacob said, swear to me first. And I love this because the younger brother, he says, hey, wait, swear to me first. Like let's make a deal. All right? In this instance, I could only wish and think that when Jacob is asking Esau this, Esau could have rethought what he was thinking in his mind. He could have just paused for a second and just said, hey, actually, what I'm about to do is ridiculous. It's stupid. This isn't the best thing for me. But because he is so focused on it, he betrays himself. And it says then, hey, so he swore an oath to him, selling his birthright to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau some bread, some lentil stew. He ate and drank and then got up and left. And so Esau despised his birthright. Just like that. Esau then gets his lentil stew. He eats it and it's done. He walks out and probably regrets the decision that he just made. Despised his birthright. Now last night, this was like a setup, as Walter would call it. My brother literally came home and he made lentil stew or lentil soup for today, all right? This wasn't planned, all right? Now, I took a photo of it last night because I want you to see this, all right? Now, who would, like honestly, how many of us, what would we trade for this? What are we willing to trade for this? I wouldn't even trade $5 for lentil stew, all right? Honestly, I know Zalia loves lentil stew, but man, I don't know, all right? What would you be willing to trade for this? But the more important question that I want to ask all of us today is this. Who would trade their future for something as invaluable as a bowl of lentil stew? Who would trade their future for something as invaluable as a bowl of lentil stew? And all of us, if we sit here today, all of us would say none of us. We would never do this. But the reality is we do this every single day by our cravings, by our appetites, by our addictions, by the immediate over the significant. We continuously do this and we keep kicking ourselves in the face. The story of Esau is so relevant because I think every single one of us can relate to it. Each and every one of us have found ourselves at some point in our life where we're making unwise choices and actually it's going to cost us our future. We're replacing something that is so valuable for something that is so insignificant. And only afterwards do we regret it. We despise it. Why do we do this? Why do we continuously betray ourselves? The other part of the story is that it goes on where Jacob then, the younger brother, he actually deceives his brother again. And in this instance, his mother actually helps him. All right, Rebecca actually helps him to actually get the blessing of his father. And what's crazy about this is that Jacob was actually doing the exact same. He was looking for something that could fill him up, that could actually sustain him, that could actually help him in his life, but actually it wasn't the birthright. It wasn't the blessing. He was living on a lie all his time. How many of us are betraying ourselves? Maybe you don't resonate with the betray me that well, even though it all happens to us, but maybe you can resonate with someone betraying you. Someone betraying you. And when I say those words, that face just pops up in your head straight away. Where someone has actually stolen from you, taken away from you. And it leaves you in a place where you're just like, why, God? Why? This was my future. This was everything I wanted. Today I want to share what we can do about this. And it comes in a passage, and actually the question I guess that I want us to answer is this. If we can go to the next slide, is like, have you lost sight of your birthright? Have you lost sight of your birthright? because I think it all comes down to actually who we are. Now, whether you're a Jesus follower or not, we believe that there's a God who actually cares about you. We just sung this song where we actually say that, hey, God, He loved this world. He so loved this world that He actually gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in Him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. Have you lost sight of your birthright? Have you lost sight of who God is? Have you lost sight of who Jesus is and what He actually means to your life? Because I think we can become so fixated on religion and so fixated on, this is just the rhythm that we go into every single day, that we lose sight of who we actually are in the mirror. Have you lost sight of the birthright that God has given you freely? He says, hey, you are not your decisions. You are not your mistakes. And because of that identity, we can actually live a life that is so much more fulfilling than falling for the appetites that can only, fill us up for a short time period. It will never sustain us. Have you lost sight of your birthright? Have you lost sight of your birthright? There's a time when Jesus, He's gathering all His disciples together. And as He gets all His disciples together, it's a Thursday night, and He's about to be betrayed. He knows it. He knows inside of Him, He knows that someone's going to betray Him. And He gets everyone together. And while He gets everyone together, He says, hey guys, we're going to practice something now. And He did this with all the guys who were following Him. We call them His disciples. And He says, hey guys, we're going to practice something now. He says, hey, what I want you to do is I want you to take this bread, all right? And He passed some bread out amongst all His disciples. And He said, hey, I want you to eat this bread. And I want you to eat this bread and continuously eat it, all right? Even when I'm gone, as a reminder of my body that is actually going to pay the price for your shortcomings, for the enemy in the mirror, for everything that, hey, we fall short of, for all the appetites that we run to and we miss the mark of our future. He says, hey, my body is going to pay the price for that. And then He said, hey, I want you all to take a sip of some grape juice here. And as you drink this, I want you to remember the sacrifice, the cost of what it's going to mean for me to give my life for you, and the blood that's going to be shed for you so that you can have eternal life. You see, I think we've forgotten what our birthright is. I think sometimes we forget, and we're similar to Esau, the value, the gigantic value and the gigantic cost, what God is to us, what Jesus is to me. I can come in here on a Saturday morning and I can miss who Jesus is in my life. And honestly, Jesus has been a source of wisdom in my life. He's been a source of hope. He's been someone who has rescued me in seasons of my life when I thought there was no hope. He's been someone who's redirected my path. He's changed the way that I've been walking towards to a future that is so much better. He's been the one that has helped me when I look in the mirror to give me better perspective of who I am in Christ. But if I keep forgetting, I will lose sight of how valuable that birthright is to me. Have we lost sight of who God is to us? Have we lost sight of who Jesus is? Today, or actually before I go on, I just wanted to share, the story goes on with Jacob and Esau, and it's a crazy story because they're continuously fighting with each other, as brothers do. And at one point, Jacob is all alone. He knows that his older brother is coming for him. He's on the run all the time. He's living in fear. He's living in fear of his life and all the unwise choices that he has made. And at one point, his older brother is, I guess, about to attack him, and he sends all his guards, he sends all his army away. And late at night, someone, the enemy, comes and actually starts to wrestle with Jacob and actually fight with Jacob. And he actually wrestles with this person all night long. It's like an even battle. No one wins, no one loses. And eventually he finds out that he's not wrestling just with the enemy, but he's actually wrestling with God. He's actually wrestling with an angel. He's actually wrestling with Jesus. And I wonder, how long has it been that you and I have actually just wrestled with Jesus? Like wrestled with this truth. Wrestled with, not just reading the Bible on a Saturday, but actually maybe reading it at home and actually just wrestling with the text that, hey, God, can this really change my life? Can this really give me a better perspective of my life? Jacob wrestles with him all night long. I think if we do this, the more we do this, the more we look in the mirror, we can see that, hey, I'm not my worst enemy, but actually God is my strength. I can start to see the value of who Jesus is in my life.